Yeah, I'm still working on it. This one's taking a little bit longer. I ended up having to build this whole piece from scratch. This I was able to salvage. All of this is new, but I was able to salvage it. This piece right here, all this is made from scratch. And got my perfect fit, and now I'm working on just tacking it, and I'm letting it cool. I don't want to get too hot. A couple thin spots. There was a thin spot right there. It was a thin spot right there. From just where the metal's pitted. The piece that I cut out, of course, it's got rust on it now, surface rust, but all this, but you can see how badly pitted this was, and how warped it is. And that's not me. That was not from me cutting it. It was pretty badly warped, and it's pitted very badly. It's also really, really thin. So, just to make one from scratch. Okay, with this all welded in, now this is all solid, it's all one piece. This is 14 gauge. This is the 16 gauge. It's a little bit thicker material, but I don't think it's going to cause any issue. I've got it so it'll sit flush whenever I finish up on the inside. But anyway, got to clean all this out, and I'm going to end up sandblasting this whole area. And when I cut out the rest of this brace, I'm going to end up sandblasting all of that also. So all of this, all right in here, gets sandblasted, and then I'll shoot it with primer. Now that this is all finished up, everything in here is all finished up. I got to grind down that weld. Get this brace cut out here, but before I do all that, I've got this other brace, and this was the one that's from the donor cab. So got some of these brackets. These need to it needs a little bit of TLC to get back into shape. So all of that's fine, and that's going to sit nicely right against that. The bottom portion of it, I'm not worried about at all, because that'll all get taken care of whenever I sandblast the entire bottom of the cab. So what I'm worried about more right now is just cleaning up these brackets, and then right along here where it took some damage while I was removing it. But I'll be able to fill in all these. It'll all be spot welded back in place. All this will be fresh and clean, and I just want to clean up these edges. And it's the same thing on the other side. This right here, I cannot wait to get rid of. That thing cut me extremely deep. A little bit of scar right there you can see on the corner. It got me really, really good. These are the taps. I kept it. It fell off, but I kept it. And worst case scenario, I've still got a couple others in the cab, and then the same thing over here. So just repairing all these edges so that this can all be welded back into place. It's kind of bent right there. So that's what I'm working on. This brilliant idea that maybe if I strapped it down, it wouldn't move so much. So we'll see how that goes. Just gonna take a flat disc, just knock off these bits of metal, take down all the sharp edges, and clean it up, and then I'm gonna sandblast the inside. out this whole center brace right here so I can get back and I can clean up all this area. Best way for me to do that is if I cut this section out, and then I've got these top and bottom rails, and what I can do is I can grind the surface down so I can find the spot welds, knock the spot welds all out, and then pull the pieces off. So much dirt in there, all caked in from years of being on a farm. What I'm doing is I'm trimming it, giving myself relief points, and start getting this thing out of here little by little. With that all cut out. Now, the hard part. It's taking out the rest of this stuff. This is a pain. You know what the best way to do this is? I've just got this Brillo pad here. I'll try to clean out some of this dust. Try to see where these spot welds are. I don't know if this is going to work. So get those marked. I'm in here and one by one. Take my spot cutting bit. Put some lubrication on the end of it. See if I can get that pilot into that. Spot welds all the way across, and then go see how much I need to go back and hit them again. Connected by one. There it is. So, this one brace off. Or one part of the brace is off. And let's get this, knock that top one off. Clean out all of that, and then put the new one back in. This is where the support brace will go, and I've got that all sandblasted and cleaned out. Here's a support brace, and it's all sandblasted and cleaned out. I'm not worried about, this is all sandblasted, the whole thing's clean. but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be painting using an epoxy. I'm going to paint the inside, so I don't have to worry about rust on the inside whenever I go to install. Okay, so what I'm using, basic paint mixing cup. And this is the Nason. This is a DTM, direct to metal, epoxy primer and sealer, and then of course the activator, and it's a 1-to-1, which makes it really easy to mix. The reason I'm going with this particular brand is because this is what I'm planning on using for the color too, for the paint color for the whole body when I get to that point, if I ever get to that point. I'm going to mix this up, load up the gun and start spraying. Get this all mixed up, and I don't know how much I'm going to need. I'm only spraying a couple parts. Get that nice and smooth. Mixed. Take it to the 2. We'll take this to the 2, or to the 4. And that there is a 1-to-1 ratio. Mix that up. Reinstalling the seat brackets right now. So what I can do is use the bolts that'll go through here into the attached sections on the brace to get it perfectly aligned. What this brace does is the brackets mount from down here to up here, and this brace holds that all together, so whenever you're sitting on the seat, the floor pan can't flex and move on you. So I'm going to try to get this thing into place. don't expect it to go easy. When I do, I'll run these bolts through and hang it up where it needs to go. And with the brace in about where it needs to go, I can take this bolt, I'll run this in through the other side, and I'll do one on both sides to help align it. Then I need to go through, mark where every single one of these spot welds is going to be, and pull the brace out so I can clean up the paint. What I've got here, I'm just going to mark where all my spot welds are going to be. I'm going to start by knocking this down just a little bit, just so I can access the top. Now I have room to work. Now what I've done, it looks kind of crazy, but I've got this, it's a strap that goes across in there, and there's a 2x4 in there, and what it's doing is it's pulling, I'm pulling the strap tight, and it's pulling the sheet metal down so I can get a really tight fit. So I've worked straight across, got all these spot welds, top and bottom done, except for this one right here. And what I've been doing is I've found that some of these I've been having to work the metal from the inside as well as on the outside. So what I'm going to do is this is damaged from when I'd removed the other piece of metal, the other piece of material, and it's kind of peeled up on the inside a little bit, and there's some holes. So I'm going to pound it out. I've pushed this in. I'll pound the other side out so I've got a tight fit, and then I'll fill it. There you can see the inside because I didn't take all the paint off. You can see where all my welds are, where it burned the paint. And of course there's going to be some cleanup to do in here, but I'll get to that next. So here's that spot. And as you can see, the metal it's warped, it's kind of peeled up. I punched through it whenever I was trying to pry it off. That was a tough one to get to. So I'm going to work the metal down, smooth this all out, make this flat so it'll sit up against that bracket on the other side. as you can see, I don't have that gap anymore, so I can go in here, I can fill that in, and that's going to be the last one. I had a lot of trouble with that one. It didn't want to work, but I've never done spot welds before. Some of these were a little large because I had to kind of waller them out when I was getting them off of the other truck. But overall, I'm happy with it. Thank goodness you're not going to see it. But the floor is repaired, the sides are repaired, and this is all solid for the first time in, I don't know, 20, 30 years since it's been rotten. So I've still got the cab mounts and the floor pans to do next. The floor pans are going to happen while it's on the frame. Got the braces all in now. It's painted on the inside, so it looks good. Hopefully it's not going to rust, at least in the meantime until I can get it undercoated. And I'll be doing that after I take care of the floor pans and these cab mounts. These cab mounts, we'll be doing next, so stay tuned for that. I've already got the new cab mounts in.